Hey guys, I'm Lauren Rivers, and in a bit of writing news, I have finished another short trek based on the Wandering Roads concept, which was the Lucy Kate idea. And this one is a little bit of a look back at their mother in an earlier period of her life as part of my effort to work on some shorter things. Mostly I'm just trying to experiment with single scene ideas with, little pieces that are still, I think meaningful writing, but in an effort to also be able to perhaps produce work more quickly and in cases when things happen or I have less time in the month, it's also a good way for me to be able to keep up to where I think I should be. So I'm also working on, I'd like to do a bunch of, shorter ideas like that in the future for any time when I need or have, for example, if there's a con that month, sometimes I might need shorter pieces to work on that I can still finish within the time allotted, as well as the fact that, single scene stories, I can sort of focus a little bit more, I think, on what I'm trying to achieve with it rather than trying to make sure that it has a plot that has a beginning, middle, and end. With the one scene story, I can sort of just do I guess the right word is maybe vignettes or vignettes. I could be mispronouncing that. Little dips into aspects of the characters that I work with so that you can sort of see bits and pieces, but it's not necessarily a big long short story or a novel or something where it has a whole big plot around it. Kind of like how the short stories fill in the gaps. The short treks are sort of a way for, I guess, for me to try different things, to play around with different concepts, maybe to touch on things that, just lets me just be free to write and not necessarily be concerned about the how it fits into a larger narrative exactly. And in some cases, it perhaps gives me some useful background. So I'm working on that, and I've also tried to do a short trek that is based on the series that right so far hasn't officially been titled, but I'm kind of going with for now the working title of Last Horizon. It was supposed to be kind of joined with a couple of other projects, but I'm kind of considering, at least at this point, maybe just keeping it separate so that I can move forward with the idea independently. Because I don't think any of the ties that I had in mind for it to connect to other stuff is necessarily plot critical. So that might necessarily become a separate project on its own. But it's a little bit of an experiment because it's first person, which I usually don't do. Because, I mean, if you read any of my work, most of my writing is third person. And, this is, I guess, a way to sort of be a little bit outside of the box and try something different. Because as I was thinking about writing the story in third person, it just sort of seemed like the concept I was looking at felt more appropriate to being a first person story, that this person is telling their story to an objective listener or to themselves or something along those lines. So, it's based on a concept that I want to call contemporary superhero. Kind of, I guess, not inspired by, but I mean, certainly kind of reminds me, I guess, a little bit of The Gifted in concept, but I'm trying to be unique in my approach to it. So, I'm still working out the details. But for now, I've got some tentative thoughts, and a lot of people have probably seen my bear character at various cons, Lexi. She's supposed to be from that idea. And of course, the big news, I suppose, is Texas Furry Fiesta, which is next weekend, which it kind of blows my mind that it's already that time again, but cons just seem to sneak up on me, even though they're on the calendar and I know when they're coming. But, it's our home con, so I will be there. I'm still deciding what suits to bring. I have my usual selection right now of probably like five or six possibilities, but it's narrowing it down to two or three that is always the hard part. It's like I've gone to cons without Lauren, without versions of Lauren, but it always feels kind of weird, I guess. Kate has been to the last couple of conventions. I know I took Topaz to MFF because I had some new outfits for her that I wanted to debut, but they also haven't been seen at TFF. So, I'm not sure. I'm going to test fit a couple things later just to be sure that, I mean, they should fit because I don't think I've gained any weight since then. Maybe I might have even lost a little. But, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit of paranoia. But anyhow, I'll figure out what suits I'm bringing, and you'll definitely be able to see some of mine. But right now, contenders are some version of Lauren, either light Lauren, half suit Lauren, maybe try and fit into the traditional Lauren, I don't know. Topaz is a possibility. There's Anna, there's Kate, and there's of course Lexi, which I usually like to take because she's comfortable and easy and I love her sneakers. I still want to find a pair of sneakers like that for me. I mean, I guess I could steal hers, but it's like I want to preserve her sneakers as long as possible because, I don't know how hard it is to find purple sneakers, but, that's sort of Lexi's signature footwear, so I don't know. But I do definitely love those sneakers. They're super comfortable, and usually at cons I kind of steal them for myself a lot of the times. But Shrag and I should be there, and I guess that's about it as far as con news. I don't really have anything huge planned this convention, but just having fun as usual, I guess, and seeing how that goes. Let's see, we completed the cleanup for the garage project, so now the garage is devoid of garbage. We've gotten rid of all the stuff that we just, I don't know why it was in there. We got rid of the soda cans, the bags of Crunch soda cans that we dropped off at the recycling plant. We got rid of a bunch of rusted bed frames that were in there, some furniture we don't use. So now all that's in there is practical stuff. And we have, I think, three total rooms in the garage, I guess. One that we call the reloading room because that's where Shrag keeps a lot of his stuff for reloading ammunition and a few other things. And we also have the main section of the garage which we use to store like gardening stuff, tools, anything that we might practically use for house or yard maintenance. And the middle room, which is sort of open to the utility area, is our storage area, which now that we've gotten rid of all the dangerous stuff, broken glass and trash and stuff, we can actually go in there and comfortably look around. And since I want to preserve the stuff that's in there, we've set out roach traps so that hopefully it'll keep cockroaches from maybe A, getting in the house, and B, keep them from eating our stuff. Because, there's thick plastic around most of the stuff I have out there, but I don't want to take any chances. But I claimed a wall or a corner of the room for my storage stuff to store some of my boxes from the Eaglemoss Starships collection, and I also have a couple of Action Packers out there, mostly just my cat carrier, a couple of plastic tubs of books, some clothes, and a few other things, basically just stuff that I want to keep, but I don't want to keep in the house, per se. So, I'm taking some of the old Action Packers that aren't really good for transporting fursuits anymore and using them to store the boxes for our Star Trek spaceships. Now, God forbid we should ever actually move from here and I have to find each corresponding box for each spaceship. That'll be an exercise. But if I have to do that, I'll probably be camping out in the dining room for a while and trying to figure out what ship goes where. But, on the plus side, at least, some of them have pretty distinct shapes in the plastic molding, the blister packaging. But I do wish that they had the ability to label each of the boxes as far as what's in it. I mean, I don't know if maybe that's just something they didn't have the capability to do. Maybe it was just, to keep the boxes more universal, but a lot of the boxes are uniquely sized. So, anyway, the garage is clean and it's done, and I'm happy about that. So that's one last thing on the pile. And I guess the last thing to discuss, for at least for right now, is convention plans. Obviously we're going to TFF next weekend. We will be there as attendees. And we still are on track for plans in early August to attend Star Trek Las Vegas for the second time. I will be going with Shrag, and we will be inviting a couple of friends of ours to come with us who I know are furries and Star Trek fans, so it'll be kind of nice to go to a Star Trek convention where I actually know a couple of people. And we're still debating who to try to hunt down for photos and autographs because, I mean, I want to get all the main actors, which unfortunately, at least for the time being, is kind of not possible with some cases just because, regrettably, I waited too long before I realized, I could go to Star Trek conventions and do these things. But, I've made some good progress. I'll continue to make some good progress and, hopefully kind of like... hopefully I'll get to complete my collection as much as I can anyway. Star Trek is kind of making it difficult with more shows coming out all the time, so, they're adding more people to my list. But, all you can do is what you can do. And now that I know, that cons like that are out there, I can go and try and, complete my collection as much as possible because, it means a lot to me as a fan to be able to do that. And I guess the other thing is that we were debating whether or not we should go to Midwest Fur Fest or ACFI because we had been tossing around the possibility of switching cons for a while. And that was just one of those things that, well, I enjoy Fur Fest. There's a couple of things, not all of which I feel comfortable discussing in public, but basically part of the problem was that the reg lines, at least one or two of the years that we went, were insanely long. It's like I didn't mind waiting an hour, but the last MFF like 2 years ago, it was a 3 hour wait time, and that was a little bit ridiculous. And we also had crowding issues, so we had kind of tentatively penciled in that 2019 was going to be our last Fur Fest. And at the time, we were contemplating switching to ACFI. However, circumstances have slightly tweaked. So, at least for right now, it looks like Midwest Fur Fest is on the table for at least one more year. But I think after discussing it with Shrag, it's probably reasonably likely that this will, in fact, be our last year. So we'll see, because the size of the con, the logistics of the building, and there's just certain factors about the con being the size that it is, and among other things that are just making it, I guess, less of a sure thing that we're going to have a good time. And that being said, it's something we're considering about switching conventions. So we'll see what happens. But for now, it looks like 2020 we're going to do TFF, Star Trek Las Vegas, and we're going to do Midwest Fur Fest for one more year. And for now, I suppose that's it. I will see some of you at Texas Furry Fiesta. Maybe this year I'll actually get a chance to finally capture Hojozilla for a picture. I've been trying to chase her down for about 3 or 4 cons now, and so far I've never been fortunate enough to catch her when we're both in suit. Bad timing, I guess. But anyway, we'll see how that works, and I look forward to seeing my roommates again, who will be staying with Atsuke Kodama and Richard Renard, aka Nerdy Tiger Fox, for our room this year. And that should be it for now. So I guess I will check in with everybody after the con with the usual con report and hopefully some good con footage. So we'll see what we end up getting. I will catch you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!